Welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here. We're talking about the case of Javon Belcher, the Kansas City Chiefs linebacker who killed his girlfriend and then committed suicide at the Chiefs practice facility almost a week ago. The right wing has just gone nuts, condemning folks like Bob Costas for even talking about the gun culture in our society. Here was the reaction from Fox and Friends, Gretchen Carlson and her crew, talking about Bob Costas and his discussion the night before, talking about guns. Listen.
When people want to get rid of somebody else, they can strangle them, they can stab them. I mean, I hate to be graphic, but this is not, nobody knows what would have happened if there were no guns involved in this. And furthermore, nobody knows if this had anything to do with head injuries from this young football player, or if it was because of alcohol and drugs, which is also one of the other allegations.
Joining us now is We Act Radio's Cliff Schecter. Cliff, what do you make of what Fox News and the conservative media are doing here?
They're doing what they always do. They are politicizing, in the end, what is a public health issue, what always has been and should be a public health issue. The way they do this is they stop people from talking about it. If we have to have a 72-hour period afterwards where it would be politicizing it to discuss it, as they always say, when's the right time? Is it a year later? Is it a month later? So they get you not to talk about it, and then, of course, they send out the shock troops to attack you when you do. What Bob Costas did is he utilized that other amendment that they often forget about on the right called the First Amendment, and he went on and he did a commentary, and it was a commentary tied to football. And it was an important commentary because, as every other industrialized country has figured out, if you have fewer guns, then there are fewer cases like this one. If you don't have a gun culture that promotes and glorifies, like the NRA does, the use of guns, then you don't have so many guns and so many people out there who feel they need a gun, and you scare them with telling them that Barack Obama's coming in his black helicopter to come down to your house and jump in your window and take your guns from you, then you don't have crazy people going out and buying mass amounts of guns. And so, it's not to say we don't know exactly what happened with Belcher. Their mental illness is a possibility, multiple concussions. The fact that we don't have great mental health facilities, don't put money into it in this country is another issue that's important. It's not to say it's all the gun, but to refuse to talk about the obvious, which is people don't go generally on strangling sprees. People don't climb up to the clock towers, the University of Texas, Austin, and go into movie theaters in Aurora and places like that and start throwing knives at people. These things just don't happen. The gun obviously is something that allows people to kill many more people with much more accuracy in a much shorter period of time. To not discuss that is to be criminal, frankly.
Well, the hypocrisy on Fox News is just astounding. I want to play for you Fox and Friends host Brian Kilmeade reading viewer email. Strangely enough, all of the viewer email took issue with Bob Costas and condemned him. Anyway, here's
what
Brian,
a coincidence.
Yeah, here's Brian Kilmeade reading some viewer email. Listen.
Hal says this: would Costas feel better if Miss Perkins had been beaten to death with a baseball bat? People who use tragedies to push agendas are pathetic.
Okay, let's take him at his word. People who use tragedies to push agendas are pathetic. By that definition, Fox News would be incredibly pathetic based on the way that they use 9/11 and all the other ridiculous things that they said, we have to go to war with Iraq because America was attacked by some group that had nothing to do with Iraq. I mean, come on, the hypocrisy is astounding.
It really is. It's angry. I mean, it would be more angry, I suppose, if they weren't a joke of a station where we know that Roger Ailes is busy sending love letters and kiss notes to General Petraeus to try to get him to run. I mean, this is a propaganda outlet. It's not a real news station. That people like Greg Gutfield and Bowling and the rest of this crew of losers who know nothing are allowed to go on TV. I mean, Gutfield the other day actually started laughing when talking about inner city violence because it's funny to him, apparently. The station that politicized 9/11, as you said, that pushed for war in Iraq, the station that's made Benghazi supposedly an issue with President Obama by using things that they didn't know and making up other things. I mean, no one should take them in the slightest bit seriously. And you've got other people too. This editor at Town Hall, Katie Pavlik, who I've had my battles back and forth with on Twitter, who goes around trying to blow that up, and the conspiracies with Fast and Furious, which gets people to buy more guns. I mean, these people are shameless. They don't care who they get killed with what they do. They've proven that again and again and again. They will scare anybody who's unstable to buy a gun, and then they will block any common sense regulations like background checks at gun shows that will stop people who are mentally insane or who are criminals from getting guns. It's a toxic combination, but that's what the right is these days, isn't it?
It sure is. I mean, it's just astounding. As far as the issue of guns and reasonable legislation, Cliff, what are some of the things that I suppose could be put in place right now if there was the will, put in place that could go right now that could try to at least make sure that whether you're an NFL football player or not, that you're not that if you're going to get a gun, that there's not some sort of background, or that make sure that you're psychologically stable.
Right. I mean, I don't know his whole background, so I don't know if there were red flags there. What I will tell you is, every time one of these big cases happens, there's almost inevitably a red flag there. So what could we put in place? We could have a national federal system of background checks. That would have stopped, for example, the Columbine killers. That would have stopped John Patrick Bedell, who went and bought guns, couldn't get guns in California because they have background checks there, but went in Nevada, bought them, and showed up at the Pentagon shooting. That would have stopped members of Hezbollah from buying guns about 10 years ago in this country, and others. What else could we have? We could make sure and have a national law and penalize the hell out of any state that doesn't share all of their mental health and criminal records for those background checks. So, for example, when Virginia doesn't share those records, and then a man who's declared mentally unfit by a county court is unable to go and buy guns and show up at Virginia Tech and shoot over 30 people, that's something that was preventable. We could make sure that when psychologists at universities declare that somebody is a danger to that university, like happened at the University of Denver with the killer in Denver, we could make sure that in those cases that information was shared with our background check system, so somebody was flagged and was able to get a gun. Or we could flag large purchases of ammunition, which we absolutely should do. So when this guy purchased 6,000 rounds the week before he went and he killed many people in the Aurora movie theater, that would have set off some bells and alarms to the people. Yeah, maybe that's something we should look into and pay attention to. We could get rid of the T-Hart Amendment, which has made it so that it's almost impossible for federal law enforcement agencies to share information. We could make it required that people have to share if they lose a gun or a gun is stolen. I mean, these are common sense and easy things. In most of the cases where someone has committed a massacre or other type of crime, these cases would have actually been preventable if we had done one of the few things that I just said. But I will say something very quick before I have to go. Things are changing. The NRA has been proven to be a paper tiger. They lost 6 out of 7 Senate races where they spent over $100,000 this past election. They spent $12 million to defeat President Obama and lost. In polls taken in Virginia, Colorado, and North Carolina, a majority of people said they trusted President Obama over the Republicans on the issue of guns. So the NRA, all that money was for naught. And I'll tell you that Mayor Bloomberg finally, who started a super PAC, and spent a bunch of money that he was able to raise pushing for gun control, which hasn't been done before. And Joe Baca out in California, who was the blue dog who the NRA always went to first, second, and third to co-sponsor their legislation, was taken out by a more progressive challenger because because Mayor Bloomberg's PAC was willing to spend the money. So for those legislators out there who think they've got a free pass now to go and vote with the NRA, to vote against a public health issue and to get people killed by ignoring this issue, things have changed. The NRA is not feared in the way that they were. They're a paper tiger. They're not what they claim to be, and you're going to see that coming in more and more elections, that legislators should feel like maybe there's something else to fear, like people who are on the right side of this issue coming and taking their seats from them.
Cliff Schecter, own WeHonk Radio's Cliff Schecter. Cliff, thanks so much for joining us as always. And I got to say, Cliff, on a little bit of a lighter note to finish off here, we've got this broadcast and now it's on YouTube, and we're using a pretty handsome picture of you, my friend. You're a pretty good-looking guy.
I felt bad just coming on and talking so seriously. This is a serious issue, but if I can't come on and joke with you, David, it almost feels like it hasn't been a full broadcast.
Well, we got at least a little.
I'll tell you that the lighting is good. I'm not nearly that handsome, and it's a conspiracy in the state of Ohio to make us look better than people from Michigan. Well, truthfully, we all know you're the handsome one.
Well, for anybody who's listening on the radio who wants to see just how handsome Cliff Schecter is, you can check out our YouTube channel, Take Action News TV. Cliff, thanks as always. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Cliff Schecter, WeHonk Radio's own. Coming up in the next hour, we'll talk about something known as astroturfing. This is when a corporate organization gets together and tries to create something that looks like it's run by a group of citizens when it's not. We'll get into that. We'll also talk to Charlie Mitchell ahead about what's going on in Congress. You're listening and you're watching Take Action News.